Hey, this is zhennii, and I'm just doing a VOD analysis for kokuren versus me. I think this match was 4 days ago? I don't really remember. But I think for the most part, I'm going to be talking about, I'm just going to be trying to point out some like common mistakes that are being made and explain the reasoning behind like why Wagner might choose X option, or why I as a player might have chosen to do something. And from that, hopefully I can bring up some questions that might be useful. I'm already thinking that you might not know the matchup very well because you walk back here. There are characters who can walk back versus Wagner's 6-6C round start, but Phonon is not one of them. So upon seeing something like this, I think to myself, I can kind of just let some certain things rip. Because I'm assuming that you don't know how to deal with it. This backdash is kind of one of the ways that Wagner tries to get her shield buff. She'll try to backdash against moves like 4B that have like 35 plus frames of recovery, so that she can get 2-2B here. And once I get shield buff here, the neutral is totally changed. I'm expecting that I'm going to block this fireball and then smash IC2 on 4B, and you're going to get hit. There we go. And you know, the reason that I assume that, you know, as the player on this side of the screen is just because of the walk back round start. So I'm expecting this to happen a lot more, but the reason that Wagner wants to do this, right, is because it's a 22 frame startup on her IC2 and 4B, but if she has shield buff, then projectile invulnerability starts on frame 4, and guard point starts on frame 7. The projectile invulnerability lasts for like 29 frames or something, and the guard point lasts from frame 7 to 21. So there's quite a bit of guard point and quite a bit of projectile invulnerability on this move, and it goes very far, very fast, and it has a big hitbox. So you should be very scared of this move as a character who likes to throw fireballs. And even though you're plus here, you don't have anything to enforce it with to hit me in those first 6 frames of my startup, so I'm just going to smash this. This is also my best starter, so you need to be really careful challenging that. It looks like you tried to just stand up and block, but you jumped by accident. It happens. The reason I meaty here is because you don't have a 100 meter. I make it look like I might not, but I'm just sort of timing this. You don't have 100 meters, so you don't have a reversal to hit me with. So even if you CS, then you can't do anything about this. So I don't care. You maniac. Yeah, there's the second one. You need to be really careful of IC2 on 4B when she has shield buff. This whole round was lost because I got 2 shield buffs and hit you with both of them, and that was like 3/4 of your HP. If I converted the combo, then, you know, 2 IC2 on 4B conversions on counter hit plus a throw will kill you, you know? It's a lot of damage. What happened here? That's unfortunate. I like this round start better, the up back, but I don't think that fireballing is necessarily a good thing for you to do. Reason being, if you throw the fireball and I don't commit to something like drill, I'm just gonna shield it. And then yeah, you got your space that you want, but you're already behind in the cycle, so I don't really like care about that. And if you fireball here in a 6-6C, it's not gonna hit me. I drill because I'm an idiot, but it works out because sometimes it gets awkward when you use a fireball because it like stops your momentum going down and then, you know, blah blah blah. The only issue with up back round start is that sometimes you can get 236B or J236 seed. But if you go into the lab and train this, you can actually up back delay JB and it'll hit 236B every single time. And you don't, and in my opinion, you don't really want to be throwing a fireball here anyways, for the reasons that I stated earlier. You just want the space, so it's fine to just JB there. Okay, now I know you're teching. I smash here because the cycle's closing and you need to throw to win it. So I just smash. It looks like I caught jump start up or something. Oh, that's so dangerous. I'm not going to be jumping or assaulting at you round start. My round starts are 6-6C, walk back, block, and backdash. So this 4B doesn't beat anything. All this 4B does is put you at risk of getting 6-6C to round start. And the reason that that's a really big problem is because if I hit you with that round start, I've already put you at the corner and we're not even 4 seconds into the game. And that's my win condition. You don't necessarily get your win condition from hitting me randomly with this 4B, you know what I mean? Yeah, smash. And this is one of the reasons why the matchup's hard. You need to be really careful throwing fireballs against Wagner. It's okay to throw fireballs against her like this, you know, like up back fireballs, if she doesn't have 100 meter and if she doesn't have CS. But in this case, I had CS, which means that I can do either of my specials. I could do 214X or 236X. 236X here because I need the distance, and then CS. So when you up back here and throw a fireball, if I have the resources to back it up, this equals there are three things that are going to happen here. I'm going to shield the fireball because I didn't feel like committing. I'm going to FF and take my turn because he blocked, or depending on the spacing, I'm going to FF and punish. You can count on this happening. This is one of the reasons why this matchup's tough. So if, you know, I have these resources and press FF here, don't press a button afterwards. You need to recognize that this is a threat and that pressing a button afterwards is going to result in something like this. You know, we almost went coast to coast. Yeah. I've caught on to your tendency to press buttons after rebeats, or like try to jump after rebeats. Or whatever was going on there. Yeah, and it happens again immediately afterwards. So like, before this interaction happens, I've already kind of decided that... Wait, where did we go? Oh yeah. I've already kind of decided that after pressing 4B, you're going to rebeat and then try to press something or do something again. You have to recognize that, like, when you rebeat, you're minus. Like, from a lot of your normals, you're -6. For a bunch of other ones, you're -3. I think your best rebeat is off of like 6 BCC and it's -1, which is really good. That's a really good rebeat, but you have to keep in mind that like your buttons are not necessarily fast and mine are. You know, I have a 10 frame advancing low. And I also have a very far reaching 8 frame move, right, with 6B. I can also up forward. And my up forward options are really strong because I have JB. ICJB. Destroys projectiles. Big counter hit. So I think that, like, at this point I've learned that in your offense you really like to press buttons after rebeats a lot, and whether or not you adjust to that is, you know, remains to be seen. But that's why I'm smashing here. My last one was successful, so I figure this one will be too. It's a weird VO. And you know, I'm observing that you aren't adjusting it, right? Yeah, there it is again. I think this is probably, like, of all the things I've seen so far, this is probably the biggest problem. When I have shield buff, you're way too disrespectful. This is a one-way ticket to Pound Town. Oh, I didn't block the overhead. Fair enough. I wouldn't have pressed a button after that. I think that this is like pretty common. Like this tendency to press buttons even when it's not your turn. Obviously, like, it's a balance, right? Like, just because you're minus and it's not your turn anymore doesn't necessarily mean your opponent is going to take their turn. And being able to recognize when that's the case and show your opponent that you don't care if you're minus and that you're going to keep restarting your turns is, you know, that's fine. But I've already shown you several times that I will take my turn, right? So when you do round start 63B here, this is -8. And then you press a 14 frame normal afterwards. So you just need to recognize, or is it 14? I don't remember. Regardless, I ran in because I assumed you wouldn't press anything because you were so minus. But you just kind of pressed anyway. I think that that's another big thing. It's like, other than just disrespecting 214B with shield buff, you're not adjusting to your opponent adjusting to you pressing buttons when you're minus. I think you should also use more lows in your strings. It was like, one of the other things I've noticed about your strings is that you don't really use lows, so I can kind of just hold up forward. Like, this wasn't like a timed Dabare or anything. This is just like, I'm holding up forward in the instant that I'm actionable, Wagner moves. You know what I mean? It looks like I caught jump startup or something. I'm thinking that this is stand tech though. And the reason that I'm thinking that is because, you know, if you notice in the first 2 games of this set, I haven't thrown you really. And that's just because, like, I don't tend to throw people if I don't feel like I need to in order to hit them. But when I do run up 5A, 5C here, I'm testing for 2 things. I'm testing for what OS you used and what timing you OS'd at. It looks like you had a late-ish OS timing, kind of like mid-range, and your shield came out, but then you stood up. So I wasn't sure if this was 1AD or stand tech, but I was willing to bet on stand tech. So now that I know your OS timing and what button you like to press, you'll notice that I turn up the gas. Like, this offense in this round is much faster than in the other ones. And after seeing that shield, I know that it's Stantec, because that shield that came out earlier was just like a shield because I started my turn. Oh shit, my eyeballs. Okay, what happened here? It was a bad reaction by me. So like, I don't want to be a broken record, but I think it's important to look at this. So this got shielded. So this was 2B2A with, which, if I remember correctly, is like, it's like -6 or something. But I shielded it, so this is like -9. Immediate press on 5B. 5B 5A with -5 into a 15 frame normal. Rebeat into the fireball. You know, like, you've been punished for it a bunch, so I'm just going over the frame data because I just want to point out like exactly how minus you really are, and why it's so dangerous to keep pressing. I think that if it wasn't me, you know, I don't tend to mash all that much, but I think if you're fighting somebody else who like is more of a maniac with their mashing, then you would find that you're getting run over. And now I know for sure it's Stantec. Also, I would suggest literally never doing this against Wagner. The only reason that you don't get punished here is because I whiffed a green shield and didn't feel comfortable pressing on the fireball. But this is an FF drill every single time. And in this scenario, 3 things are going to happen. I'm going to shield the fireball, I'm going to FF the fireball and punish you, or I'm going to FF the fireball and take my turn. There isn't an outcome for this sequence where you gain anything. So against Wagner in particular, because she has FF, I would suggest just never doing this. If you watch Silent versus Wagner's, you know, like versus me or versus any other Wagner, he literally never does this because it's just a risk that doesn't get you anything. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, you got lucky here. And the reason that I, you know, say that you got lucky here is just because the reason I walk back here to this distance is to space out 5A, right? My 5A is faster than any button that you have at this range. The only thing post CS that could beat me for pressing 5A is throw, so I space myself away from it. This is why I walked back. So when you press CS here, right, it's not necessarily like wrong for you to press CS here because maybe I'm trying to trick you, you know, and then I press a button on your wake up or something. So it's fine to CS here, but this challenge afterwards is bad. And it's bad because you just pressed a 6 frame versus a 5 frame, and it ended up coming out, it ended up that I pressed the button late, but in this scenario, just like on paper, it just never works out for you. So you need to be more careful about that. Fuck. I missed my DP. That's okay, that happens. Yeah, so like even it, like literally the round after we do there's 2-2x and then fireball. I react to this fireball and press FF and then just drill. I was supposed to press 2-2C, but Wagner is cursed and sometimes like this ends up coming out for some reason. But you lost your turn here because you chose to do 2-2x fireball. And you got counter hit there because if you block J236C, it's +0. I was so surprised they didn't tech that. I didn't though. The throw late thing said 2 frame late, so. Oh, what was I doing there? Yeah, I know it's stand tech now. So I think that this like sequence here is actually really important because this sequence shows off like 2 of I think some of the biggest problems in your gameplay right now, which is that you get punished here for trying to press a button when you're minus against Wagner. And more accurately, pressing a button after you're minus predictably against Wagner. And then afterwards, you end up getting blown up because I've already scouted and punished your stand tech, and you're still stand teching. If you don't mix up that OS, I should have killed you there. I'm not sure what I was doing. But if you don't mix up your OS, then I can just hunt it as much as I want. It's not like you're mashing on my offense, so I can just keep rolling the bones over and over and over again. And I do FF CS here because if you reversal, I beat the reversal with FF. If you mash, I beat that too. If I CS, then and you did like delayed wake up and the FF whiffs, then the CS comes out and I'm fine. It's just really a safe thing to do. You would have to like wake up, like throw me or something, but the problem with that is that sometimes depending on this, like the way that it's done, it can be meaty enough to beat throw, so you just have to block that. But that's why I went for the ICFF there. Yeah, that happens. There's not much to say about this moment here other than that you just kind of got called out. Oh, that's what you were trying to do on my assaults in. This is a pretty early OS. Like if you did the I like that you did this OS because like it's a decent OS for Phonon to do because she can punish in the corner, or if she has 100 meters she can punish anywhere. But your jump started before my JC even came out. So like if you were going to jump this early to beat throw or something, you probably just should have pressed something. But that's just a matter of just like timing it later, you know what I mean? You do have to be careful though, because -1 rebeat to assault is very good at beating jump. I think that this like TK fireball here would definitely have beat me if I did rebeat into 5A 66C, but if Wagner is this far away, she's probably just gonna assault because if you 2B, it misses. You know, your 2B reaches to like right about here, and if you 2C, I'm only -1, which means that my assault comes out before your 2C does, and I hit you. So assaulting there is generally like a pretty decent option for Wagner. So it's pretty likely that she's going to do that. Two and 4X can also beat jump there, but it just depends. That the water gets much murkier there. Rip. I seem to remember this happened a lot too. You disrespected CS a lot. You try to do something after whiffing green shield. One of the things about Wagner is that she's really good at like playing around green shields. She's not the only character who can do this though. I'm only -5 on the snow cancel, and whiffing a green shield adds 15 frames of block stun. So really, in this scenario, you're minus 10 when all of this resolves. So one of the things that Wagner really likes to do is make you whiff a green shield and then just presses another button. So it looks like you probably tried to jump here, but if you pressed anything or tried to jump or do really anything there, then you get hit. So you have to be careful about like doing stuff after whiffing a green shield. Yeah, it's more IC214B disrespect. Smash, yeah. I think that there's kind of a lot to unpack about this particular scenario, but on its most basic level, I would say the reason that this doesn't end up working out for you is because I think you're a bit scared of just running in and throwing. Maybe you play against somebody a lot who this kind of like run up 5A, 5A, or like run up 2A, 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 dash 2A, 2A stuff works really well against, but I'm expecting you to do something like this because you ran forward, and the only time you run forward is to do this kind of stuff, and it's always at this time in the cycle. This is just something to think about. Oh, I dropped the combo. That was kind of what I was talking about earlier with like oh, it was 5C that hit that, but 2 and 4X could have done that too. That happens sometimes. You just pressed late. 60 no cancels -5. So you just pressed late there. My eyeballs. This is my fault for not converting on these. This absolute fucking clown shoes moment is my fault. I should have 5A'd there to pick it up. I should have like actually pressed another button after that 5B, and this was just unfortunate. Yeah. I think at this point in the VOD, it's kind of just more of the same. I was able to catch the startup of jump or something there, because I know that that's what you're liking to do right now. This VO was like really questionable. I really shouldn't have done that. It's either the reason I shouldn't have done it is because you're throw lethal without VO anyway, so I really shouldn't have VO stripped you here, or like done VO ender here. It was a small brain moment. Is that 2C? Yeah, you need to be careful doing this stuff. I don't want to like rag too hard on this kind of thing, but round start against Wagner, all she's thinking about is 6-6C. And I don't mean that all she's thinking about is doing 6-6C. I mean everything about Wagner's round start revolves around this. Because it's a 10 frame advancing normal that hits low. So it's extremely dominant round start, and you can tell everything based off of that. Just like I said at the very beginning of this VOD, the fact that you walked back told me that I could do certain things immediately, right? It's a lot of information just because of how you play around this normal. And you just have to think about risk reward in this scenario. Like, if I do 6-6C here, even if I don't have meter, if you press 2C here, you're gonna lose and get corner carried and put in the corner, you know? It's not a good start for you. And I could just backdash. And if I backdashed and you did 2C here, I'd take a buff for free, right? And now I have shield buff. Or if I just blocked and sat there, then this whiffs and then I take my turn. Or if I dash block forward, I block it and it's whatever, you know what I mean? Like, this 2C doesn't really beat anything. And it doesn't really create scenarios where you will be able to do much. Because there's not really a reason for me to get hit by this. That was a bad shield buff. Yeah. This is kind of more of like, you could, instead of saying 5A, you could just say, 5B. Like, it's the same tempo, the same, like, tell. Which is fine. It's fine to, like, tell your, show your opponent that, you're thinking of doing something, but you need to be able to trick them too, Like, you have to be able to recognize that they're mashing on you here, and that they're mashing because you're showing them a tell, and then take advantage of that. I could have punished that with 5A. Wait, could I have? Your 5A is not that minus, no way. Never mind. Oh god. Alright, neither of us have any idea what's going on right now. Why didn't I strip you there? Hello? Yeah. Normally I would go all the way through the first to 10, but I think kind of at this point I have pointed out the most important things. I think, and I'll just make a list here. Number 1, respect IC 214B with buff. Number 2, I would say mix up techs. Too much stand teching. 3, beware 660 round start. Let's see what else. Actually, hold on. Mix up text. Let's see what else. Yeah, just throw more. Let's see. I mean, that's really kind of it. I mean, I might be forgetting something, but just in general, I would say, oh, right. All right, these are the 5 things right here. This one's pretty obvious, It is an enormous starter for Wagner, and I'm gonna press it if I get this. You really don't want me to have that buff, and you have to respect it. Because it's 4K meterless, and it's full corner carry every time. And it beats projectiles, it beats your moves. You can't jump over it if I have resources. You really don't want me to have this, and if I do have it, you need to respect me. Adjust to the opponent challenging rebeat after the button. You're pretty minus after your rebeats, and your buttons are pretty slow, so you really need to be cognizant of this. Wagner can and will challenge you with Drill, 214X with shield buff, 6-6C, you know, her 6B, jump forward, you know, she has all sorts of ways to challenge you. So you need to be able to adjust to your opponent doing that. Mix up your techs. It's just too much stand teching. I mean, if you mixed in some 180 there and maybe some 171 AD, that would probably help. Maybe even some FFOS, but just kind of in general, you need to stop stand teching every time. And you need to throw more. You tend to do like dash up, you know, button, dash up, button, then throw. But the problem is that if you haven't layered that with, you know, a frame trap or like mixed up the tell that you're doing that or that you want the throw, then I'm just gonna mash on it every time. I'm not scared of that. So you need to just be willing to just throw more, and if your opponent techs the throw, that's not like a bad thing really. It at least tells you that they're teching. So think of it as information that you got. And then stop fireballing when I have meter and CS. This is just a no-brainer. You know, I have FF, I have drill, and if I have meter or CS, then I can kill you or take my turn. And I could just shield them anyway, so like there's not, you don't really gain anything from doing it when I have resources. And just don't do this. Just don't 2-2x fireball for swag. There's no point. It literally doesn't get you anything. Wagner has no reason to get hit by it, and she has all the reasons in the world to challenge it every single time. So that's it. I feel like if I talk about more stuff, I'm just going to be talking about the same stuff or just sort of nitpicking at this point. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope it wasn't too long. I try to keep these on the short side, but I talk slow and I talk a lot. So yeah, I hope this helps out. Let me know if you have any questions, hit me up in Discord.